What she secretly feels when you don't chase her. Female psychology exposed. Modern stoic. What if I told you the most powerful thing you could do after she leaves is nothing? Not call, not chase, not explain, just silence. Would you believe that silence could haunt her more than 1,000 desperate messages ever could? This isn't about playing games. This is about reclaiming power. Your power, the kind rooted in stoicism, in emotional control, in a calm so cold it burns. This is the story of a man who gave everything, his time, his attention, his soul, to a woman who didn't value it. She left. He shattered. But instead of crawling back, he sat in the wreckage. And there, in that stillness, he built a fortress, not for revenge, but for rebirth. See, women are tuned into energy. The moment you stop chasing, the moment your validation goes silent, a strange thing happens. She starts wondering, not just about you, but about herself, about why your absence feels heavier than your presence ever did. That's what this video is about. What she secretly feels when you don't chase her, the psychology behind it, and how you become untouchable by walking away without a sound. If you're tired of being broken, if you're done giving power to someone who didn't earn it, this is your path. We're not here to beg. We're here to rebuild. And the first brick is silence. If you're done explaining yourself to people who never listened, if you're ready to build something unshakable, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. My silence speaks volumes. Number 1. The echo of silence. When you choose silence, you do what most men can't. Step away from the endless need to be understood, validated, or chosen. You reject the bait and embrace a calm that hits her like a thunderclap. That's right. When you go quiet, you disrupt the rhythm and it shakes her to her core. You see, most men panic when a woman pulls back, but not you. The majority would start texting, calling, pouring their hearts out, hoping that some grand emotional gesture might pull her back into their arms. But that only feeds her certainty, reaffirming that she still has you under her control. All that noise only confirms the status quo. But when you take the opposite approach, when you disappear into your own focus, purpose, and quiet strength, that's when the real shift begins to unfold. She'll act like it doesn't faze her at first, like you don't matter. She'll pretend she's fine, unbothered even. But underneath that cool exterior, the questions will start to pile up. Did you give up on her? Are you seeing someone else? Has he really moved on? The silence is like a hole in her mental space, and the deeper it grows, the more questions she asks herself. That uncertainty feeds into something even stronger, curiosity. And that curiosity is the gateway to regret. She'll start checking your social media, wondering why you haven't responded to her messages or liked her posts. Why aren't you doing what every other guy does, begging for another chance? You need to understand this. Deep down, she won't admit it, but your silence strips away the veil of certainty. It makes her feel exposed, vulnerable, as though she misjudged everything. She thought you were predictable, easy to figure out, but now you're a mystery, and that's powerful. She'll wrestle with herself, trying to crack the code. But what she won't know is that your silence isn't just a passive act. It's a choice. It's the blessing of stoicism in action, the art of controlling yourself first before ever thinking of controlling others. Silence is the purest form of self, mastery, and self. Mastery is where your true power lies. This is where the old Stoic wisdom applies. Silence is not weakness. It is strength. It is choosing peace over chaos, dignity over attention, and power over the impulse to act out of emotion. When you decide to step back, not out of fear or anger, but out of deep, deliberate control, you are sending the most powerful message you can. That message is loud and clear. You are not driven by her. You are a man who stands firm in his own space, unwilling to be shaken by her moods or decisions. Your silence speaks volumes, and that volume resonates far beyond the noise she's used to. Don't mistake this for indifference. This is not about being cold or detached. It's about showing her and yourself that you've mastered your emotions, that your world doesn't revolve around her whims. That is power, and in that power, she'll find herself lost, not victorious. Lost. Because when you stop chasing her, when you remove yourself from the emotional chaos, she realizes something crucial. You are no longer at her beck and call. You are no longer the center of her universe. The shift is palpable, and it's almost magnetic. The more you master this Stoic art, the more you will notice her attention turning towards you, not because you're begging, but because your silence has made you a challenge, a man worth pursuing. This is the paradox of Stoicism in modern life. Control yourself, and you might just control the situation. Never let her dictate your worth or your emotional state. This, my friend, is the secret that most men miss. Your ability to remain calm, cool, and collected in the face of emotional uncertainty is what makes you stand apart from the pack. So embrace that modern Stoic mindset. Make it a habit. Make it a lifestyle. Because when you stop chasing, you'll be surprised at how much more you attract. Number 2, the mind game she didn't see coming. You know how the script always goes, right? She pulls away, you chase. She goes cold, you apologize. Every man before you has followed this same tired pattern. It's almost a given. She expects it. And, quite frankly, she's prepared for it. But not you. You don't play by the same rules. You step out of the cycle, leaving her to wonder, what just happened? You didn't flinch. You didn't lose your cool. You didn't beg for explanations. No, you did something far more powerful. You simply stepped back, went quiet, and let her marinate in her own thoughts. And that right there is the twist she never saw coming. This isn't just about breaking a pattern. It's about flipping the script entirely. It's a masterstroke. This is where the psychological game of attraction takes an unexpected turn. What you've done is called a pattern interrupt. She's been running a mental script for years. Act distant to get attention, pull away to get pursued. You've just broken it. Now, the wheels start turning in her mind. Why didn't he chase me? Was I not worthy of his attention? Did I misread every sign? The control she had is slipping through her fingers, and she's left grasping at something that's no longer there. At this moment, you are the one in control. She's now playing a game she doesn't know how to win. The more she tries to figure you out, the more she's met with silence. You've introduced a mystery into her life that she can't solve, and that's unsettling for anyone used to having emotional reactions as their playing field. Now let's talk about why this works. What you've done here isn't manipulation. It's not about playing mind games. It's a perfect example of Stoicism. You've mastered your own emotions. You're not reacting to her pulls and pushes. You're setting the tone, not waiting for permission. And that is the key. When you operate from a place of inner control, you're not at the mercy of anyone's emotional outbursts. You've learned the Stoic lessons that allow you to detach from the chaos. She can't get to you anymore. You've taken the emotional control panel from her hands and shut the system down. When you do this, you show her something powerful. You show her that you are unaffected by her games. And that's the game changer. The power of mystery. What truly fuels attraction? Contrast. It's the idea that people crave what they can't fully have. When you stop chasing her, you make her question her own behaviours, and more importantly, her assumptions about your role in her life. She thought your approval was her prize, and now she wonders why she ever thought it mattered so much in the first place. You've turned the tables. You've stopped seeking her validation, and in doing so, you've made yourself infinitely more intriguing. The chase has shifted. You've become the wild card, the unpredictable element that adds a layer of complexity she didn't anticipate. You're no longer just another piece in her emotional game. You've become the mystery, the one person who is untouchable. And in the realm of attraction, mystery is magnetic. The more you detach, the more she is drawn to figure you out. This is where Stoicism comes into play again. You've removed your need for external validation. The Stoic life means you don't seek approval. You define your worth from within. This shift changes the dynamic entirely. When you stop chasing her, you stop showing desperation. You stop putting yourself on the line. Now you are the one in control. She has to question why you're not reacting like all the other men. This forces her to confront her own emotional patterns, and most importantly, it forces her to ask herself, why did I ever let his approval mean so much to me? The unseen power of detachment. So what do you do with this power? You don't flaunt it. You don't go around gloating about how much control you have. That would defeat the purpose. Instead, you continue your path with quiet confidence. This is the essence of Stoicism, maintaining inner calm, regardless of what chaos surrounds you. You show her that your peace isn't contingent on her actions. You are no longer a slave to emotional responses. You are the Stoic man, unshaken by external forces, untempted by emotional games. You've understood something profound. Attraction doesn't thrive on neediness. It thrives on independence. The less you chase, the more she will seek you out, trying to figure out what makes you tick. In the end, it's not about playing a game. It's about mastering your own emotions, mastering yourself. When you live a Stoic life, you become the kind of man who doesn't need to chase anyone, because those who are truly worth your attention will come to you. Don't be fooled. The chase isn't about running after someone. It's about letting them chase what they can't have. You must stop seeking validation. You must embrace your own worth. When you do this, you flip the script, and she's left scrambling for something she no longer controls. That's when the real magic happens. Number 3, rejection is redirection. Rejection isn't the end. It's the beginning of your transformation. She said it was over, maybe ghosted you, maybe told you directly. The silence, the emptiness, the gut, wrenching disbelief, all of it stings like a punch to the chest. It makes you question everything. Your worth, your choices, your time. But here's the truth that Stoic principles, like those of Marcus Aurelius, remind us. What happens to you is never as powerful as what you choose to do with it. Rejection is not defeat. It is redirection. It's a brutal push away from what you thought you needed, toward the one thing you actually need, yourself. You thought she was your peace, but perhaps she was your distraction. The pain is real. The heartbreak cuts deep, but the blessing is buried inside it. This is your fire. This is your forge. True strength is never built in comfort, but in collapse. It's built when everything falls apart and you remain standing, stoic, unmoved, with a clarity that is priceless. Rejection exposes the truth. It shows you who truly values you and, just as importantly, who doesn't. And with that truth comes clarity. You no longer chase what doesn't serve you. You no longer settle for scraps. You stop explaining yourself to someone who walked away without a second thought. This is your pivot. This is where heartbreak transforms into power. No longer do you focus on getting her back, you focus on getting you back. You redirect your energy, hit the gym, sharpen your focus, eliminate distractions, build in silence. She thought she rejected you, but all she did was unleash a version of you that doesn't need her anymore. This version, this unstoppable version of yourself, is who you must become. Remember, the path of the Stoic is one of resilience, of mastering the inner world no matter the chaos outside. You must never bend, never break. Embrace the challenge. If you find today's content useful to you, don't forget to share your feelings and lessons with us, or simply comment, "Very cool." It's a great encouragement for our channel makers. Thank you very much. Number 4, the weight of regret. She thought walking away would be simple, that you'd hurt for a bit, maybe beg, maybe spiral, but eventually fade into the background like everyone else. What she didn't count on was your silence. Not the passive, I'm indifferent kind of silence, but the surgical, precise silence. The kind that says, I've heard you, but I don't need to say a thing. And that, my friend, is silence with weight. It doesn't just fade, it lingers. It loops in her mind like a song she can't skip. Because silence without closure doesn't create calm. It breeds something far deeper. Regret. At first, she might feel free, like she made the right choice, liberated from the pressure of expectations. But time isn't kind to impulse, it strips it bare. Slowly, your name stops being just a name. It becomes a question mark she can't quite shake off. She'll scroll through your old photos, reread your messages, and replay memories she once brushed off as meaningless. And each time she does, the silence begins to gnaw at her in ways your words never could. You didn't chase her, and that ego of hers, once fed by your attention, starts to starve. Every moment she doesn't hear from you is a reminder that you're no longer orbiting her world, and that void, that absence, becomes heavier with every passing day. She expected an argument, some dramatic plea for her to stay. Instead, she was met with a man who chose peace over performance. And that's rare, that's powerful, that's unforgettable, because true strength, the kind rooted in the blessing of Stoicism, doesn't announce itself. It just exists, unwavering and quiet. You didn't explain, you didn't justify, you just let her go, and the weight of that decision falls on her, not you. When the noise fades, when the distractions dry up, when the attention shifts elsewhere, that's when she remembers, not just who you were, but how you made her feel, and how she let it slip away. That weight, my friend, is hers to carry, not yours. You don't need revenge, you don't need closure, you don't need validation. The regret she now carries, that is punishment enough. And your silence, it's the perfect delivery method. That's the power of being a modern Stoic, to remain steady, calm and unshaken. A blessing that makes you unforgettable without lifting a finger. The old Stoic would be proud. Number 5. The shift in power. Power is subtle. It doesn't scream for attention or chase after it. Power simply is. It's there, steady and unshakable, like a mountain in the distance, unmoved by the storms that come and go. So, what happens when you stop chasing her? When you stop explaining, pleading, reacting? When you stop being the one who's constantly in pursuit? That's when the power dynamic flips. In the beginning, she had it all. Your attention, your focus, your energy. You were orbiting around her, constantly reacting to her moves, always available at her convenience. You were wrapped up in her world and she knew it. Your emotional investments were so obvious they spoke louder than words. But what happens when you pull back? When do you stop feeding into this cycle? The system collapses. Quietly. Instantly. This is where most men lose the plot. They mistake power for something external, something flashy. They think power is about proving something, flashing success, making her jealous. But here's the truth. Power is not about showing off. It's about indifference. Not indifference because you don't feel anything, but because your feelings no longer control your actions. And that's where Stoicism comes into play. The Stoic path. Discipline over reaction. The Stoic life is built on a simple but profound principle. You are the master of your reactions. When you understand this, you stop needing to explain yourself. You stop chasing validation, and you become powerful in a way that no one can undermine. This is what it means to live the Stoic life. What you must understand is that this level of control, of emotional independence, is terrifying to someone who once had complete control over your actions. She used to pull your strings and now she can't. You've turned the tables and she can feel it. When you stop reacting, when you stop feeding into her emotional world, the shift is palpable. Suddenly, you're not where she left you. You're focused, building something of value, investing your time and energy into your health, your growth, your mission. You've pulled that energy away from her and turned it inward. You've become yourself again. This shift in energy doesn't go unnoticed. Whether she admits it or not, she notices the change. You've stopped being emotionally dependent on her. You've become emotionally free, and in the process, you've reclaimed your power. The silent power of detachment. Here's a powerful lesson. Detachment is power. When you no longer need her validation, you become invincible. She may not admit it, but she starts to crave your attention, your approval, your energy. Not because you've manipulated her into desiring it, but because you've become rare. You've become unbothered. You've become solid in who you are and what you stand for. And that's magnetic. This is the crux of the Stoic lessons in this dynamic. Stoicism teaches you to be grounded, unwavering, and in control of your emotions. It's not about playing games or being cruel. It's about cultivating discipline and emotional maturity. When you stop needing external validation to define your worth, you start living life on your terms. And this self-assurance, this self-reliance, creates an energy that is irresistible. The power of being unavailable. One of the biggest mistakes men make is being too available. They think that constantly being there for her, giving her all their attention, will somehow win her over. But in reality, it only creates imbalance. It reinforces the idea that she holds all the power, and you're just a passive participant in her world. When you stop being so available, when you focus on yourself, your goals, and your growth, that's when things change. This isn't about being distant or aloof. It's about being self-sufficient. It's about creating boundaries and respecting your own time and energy. You must recognize that your worth isn't defined by her approval or attention. The moment you stop chasing, stop explaining yourself, stop reacting, that's when the true shift happens. You become a man who is in control of his life, his energy, and his emotions. Conclusion: become the Stoic king of your own life. You must embrace the power of emotional detachment. This doesn't mean you stop caring about her or anyone else. It means that your value doesn't depend on external validation. It's about having the discipline to focus on what truly matters: yourself, your mission, your growth, and in doing so, you'll become a force to be reckoned with. When you adopt the principles of Stoicism in your life, discipline, self-reliance, and emotional control, you will naturally reclaim your power. You will no longer be the one chasing or seeking approval. Instead, you'll be the one others gravitate toward, not because you need them, but because you are already enough. So, don't be afraid of the shift. Don't be afraid to pull back and focus on yourself, because when you do, you'll see something magical happen. She will start chasing you, not because you've manipulated her, but because she can sense that you are no longer emotionally dependent on her. You have found your own power, your own voice, and that is what makes you irresistible. Number 6. She watches even in silence. When you stop chasing her, when you stop feeding into the drama and the validation game, something happens. She watches. You might think she's moved on. She might not text. She might not call. She may not even show up in your notifications. But don't be deceived. She's watching, lurking, trying to get a glimpse into your world. Maybe it's through mutual friends, maybe through fake accounts, maybe through every digital crack she can find. She's watching because the one thing she didn't expect was your silence. At first, it was curiosity. Then it became concern. Now it's obsession, all wrapped in silence. You stopped seeking her approval. You didn't crumble. You didn't beg. Instead, you moved on with quiet strength. You evolved. You didn't break. You blossomed. And that's the difference. It's a painful truth. People don't regret losing you when you're broken. They regret it when you're thriving. When you're not only surviving, but thriving. When you've taken the energy that was once poured into them and redirected it back into yourself. That's when the silence cuts deeper. When your peace becomes louder than their chaos. That's when they feel the loss. It's not about revenge. It's about you remaining unbothered, calm, and in control. That calm is the loudest message you can send. While she doesn't like your posts, doesn't send you messages, she's there, refreshing her feed, wondering if she's lost the man who could have changed everything for her. Every step you take in your growth, every moment of peace, makes the silence scream even louder. She's no longer part of your story. She's just a chapter you outgrew. Let her watch. Let her wonder. You're not pretending. You're not performing. You are living fully, powerfully, quietly. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Follow Stoic principles. Stay calm, stay collected, and understand this. When you stop chasing, you begin to own your own peace. You must embrace the Stoic mindset, being calm, in control, unshaken. That's your power. Let her watch, and let her question if she made a mistake. You, my friend, have mastered the art of moving on. If you've made it this far, you're already mastering the art of silent power. While she watches and wonders, you're moving forward, unshaken and evolving. Now, it's your turn to make it clear. You're no longer part of her past. You're rewriting your own story. Please comment. I have outgrown the past and embraced my power. Number 7. Scar tissue is armor. Heartbreak doesn't just wound, it marks you. It brands your soul with memories of where you bled for someone who wouldn't even offer you a bandage. Yes, it changes you, but it doesn't have to make you hard or bitter. Instead, it should shape your discipline. The pain you felt, the gnawing ache when she walked away, that wasn't weakness, it was the beginning of your transformation. Each scar you carry tells a story, but more than that, it's proof that you healed. You faced the pain and you didn't let it consume you. You processed it head on instead of running from it. If you do it right, those scars don't break you, they forge you. They make you stronger, tougher, and harder to sway. Now, you're harder to manipulate, harder to knock off course, because you've experienced emotional chaos, and you won't let anyone pull you back into it. She thought leaving would destroy you, but in reality, all she did was force you to evolve. You've grown, sharpened your focus, and reassessed everything. The man who once got hurt is gone. What remains is someone more calculated, more deliberate, more in control. Someone who's not afraid to walk away because he's already survived the worst of it. That kind of strength isn't loud. It's silent, potent, and commanding. It doesn't seek revenge. It simply is. And everyone feels it, especially her. It's the blessing of Stoicism. It's the power of the modern Stoic, being impervious to the chaos that used to break you. You're no longer just the person who endured heartbreak. You are the man who rose above it. The old Stoic knew this well. That pain processed and turned inward creates a man who cannot be defeated. Number 8. When detachment becomes desire. She expected emotion. She expected some reaction, a sign that she still mattered to you. What did she get? Detachment. Not bitterness, not passive aggression, just calm. And that calm is confusing. But here's the thing. Emotional detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you've mastered control over what you care about. You've shifted from reacting emotionally to responding with purpose. You stopped chasing. You stopped trying to prove your worth. And, whether you realized it or not, you became far more desirable than ever. Why? Because while most guys lean in when a woman pulls away, overcompensating, over-explaining, you leaned out. You leaned into yourself, your discipline, your purpose, your growth. In doing so, you became grounded, centered, and immune to the drama. That's the difference. While most operate from fear, fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of being forgotten, you are governed by something much greater. Your mission. And that's the secret to attraction. When you detach, you shift the emotional current. Instead of trying to win her back, you become the one she starts to chase without even knowing why. Not because you're trying to seduce her, but because you've become immune to the emotional chaos that once used to tie you in knots. That immunity, it's magnetic. Now she's thinking about you again, wondering why your absence stings more than your presence ever did. She won't say it outright, but your lack of attention has become a weight in her mind. You're not chasing her. You're not waiting around for her response. You're just being, unmoved. And that space you've carved for yourself, that self-contained power, it pulls her in. This is where the true magic happens. Desire isn't born out of suffocation. It's born in space, in absence. Detachment isn't about distance. It's about depth. The Stoic lessons you've learned, the Stoic life you now live, have made you whole on your own. And that wholeness, it's intoxicating. When you stopped orbiting her, you created space. Now she's drawn to your gravity. She's no longer chasing your affection. She's chasing the mystery you've become, and you didn't even have to try. That's the polarity shift. And that, my friend, is when detachment becomes desire. You must remember this. Stoicism isn't about rejecting love or emotion. It's about controlling them. When you master detachment, you become immune to the emotional chaos and in turn become a magnetic force. Number 9. The revenge of reinvention. When you stop chasing her, something powerful happens, something she doesn't expect, and it shakes her to her core. It's not about revenge in the traditional sense. Revenge doesn't always have to be loud or dramatic. It's often the quietest, most undeniable force that hits hardest. Real revenge is evolution. The moment you stop trying to repair the man she walked away from and start building the man you were always meant to be, that's when the shift begins. At first, it feels like survival. You hit the gym because the pain needs somewhere to go. You dive into your goals because standing still hurts more than moving forward. You embrace Stoic principles and focus on what you can control. The fire in you shifts. It stops being about proving something to her. It stops being about revenge at all. It becomes internal. It becomes pure. You no longer need her validation because you are the validation. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. You're building a life that aligns with who you truly are, unshaken, unbothered, and unstoppable. When you wake up each day, it's with purpose, not to flex, not to post, but to build something real. She'll feel it, even if she doesn't say a word. The version of you that once crumbled, the one who was desperate, confused, and lost, is gone. He has been replaced by a man who doesn't need to chase or play games. This version of you doesn't react to the world, it simply creates. And while she may notice, it won't matter anymore, because you're no longer looking back. You've embraced your past, learned from it, and evolved beyond it. That's the true revenge. You become who you were always meant to be, regardless of her approval. It's not about bitterness or hate, it's about freedom. Don't waste time trying to fix the man she left behind. Focus on the man you're becoming, because this is the man who rises from the ashes without looking back, without caring whether she ever sees it or not. If you found value in this video, please comment below and share it with someone who could benefit from this powerful message. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights on personal growth and wisdom. Comment to remember, I am constantly evolving into the best version of myself. By Key Poll. Number 10. You were the storm, not the shelter. She once thought you were the safe haven, the man who would always be there, always reliable, always ready to catch her when she fell. You were the emotional backup, the constant comfort, the rock she could lean on. But then you changed. When she walked away, something inside you cracked open. Instead of staying shattered, you rebuilt yourself, stronger, sharper, colder. You didn't become the man who waits. No, you became the storm she never saw coming. You stopped being the sanctuary for someone who never valued your peace. Once you choose yourself, everything shifts. You stopped answering those late-night texts. You stopped trying to decode mixed signals. You stopped holding space for someone who never made space for you. That decision didn't make you heartless. It made you unstoppable. Now, your presence isn't about comfort. It's about command. The man she once knew was emotional, available, predictable. But the man you've become is different, unreadable, grounded, focused. You no longer get sucked into chaos. You walk away from it. That's the storm. Controlled force. Purpose without apology. Passion without dependence. You no longer just survive pain, you harness it. And that energy, it can't be faked, can't be manipulated. It demands respect. She remembers you as the guy who cared too much. But now, she feels the absence of that care is like an empty space, a void she created. And now, there's no shelter left in you, no softness for her to fall back on. You're not the man she ran from. You're the man she can't reach anymore. This is the full circle moment. Not because you hate her, not because you're bitter, but because you finally understand your value. You were never the fallback. You were never the safety net. You were the storm. And for a while, you forgot. But now, you remember, and you're not going back. You don't chase, you don't beg, you don't explain. You've already done all that, and it got you nowhere. This time you did something different. You went silent. You chose strength over emotion, discipline over desperation, peace over performance. And that silence, it changed everything. She felt it, she questioned it, she watched from the sidelines as you rebuilt yourself, without her. That's not a tactic. It's not a game. It's evolution. Stoicism isn't about being numb or indifferent. It's about refusing to be ruled by chaos. It's about knowing your worth, standing firm in your values, and choosing peace, power, and purpose over emotional turmoil. This is the blessing of Stoicism, the old Stoic wisdom that teaches us to rise above the noise, to become the storm, not the shelter. You've embraced that wisdom, and it's transformed you. Don't go back to what was. Stay grounded. Stay unstoppable. All right, that's all for today's video. If you found this information valuable, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more insights on female psychology and modern Stoic principles. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what we discussed today. Have you experienced this in your own life? Feel free to drop your feedback or any questions you have in the comments section below. Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, understanding the psychology of others can truly change the way you approach relationships. Until next time, stay stoic and keep learning.